we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Starsand Island got delayed again. I know, I saw the comments on my community post. Some of you are passionate about this. The developers are aiming for a release around Lunar New Year, which is mid-February. They're aligning with that holiday timing, which honestly is a smart move. That's a huge market, and if they can capitalize on that timing, good for them. I get the frustration, I was looking forward to this too, but game dev is hard. Like, really hard. And I've played enough broken games at launch to know I'd rather wait a bit longer than deal with a game-breaking bug or half-baked systems. The good news, my backlog can finally breathe. I've been putting off finishing Coral Island for like 2 months because I knew Starsand was coming, and now I actually have time. Silver linings, people. But that's enough about what we're not playing, let's talk about what we are playing, because February is actually pretty stacked. We've got restaurant sims, retail sims, horror cozy hybrids, there's something for everyone, so let's get into it. So obviously we have to start with Starsand. The developers are targeting a release around Lunar New Year, so we're looking at the 16th or 17th of February. Keep an eye on their Steam page and Discord for the exact date announcement. If you've been living under a rock and don't know what this is, Starsand Island is basically what happens when you take Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and a little bit of The Sims, throw them in a blender and pour it onto a tropical island. You've got farming, fishing, relationships, building, the whole 9 yards. The devs have been calling this the Stardew Killer, which is a bold claim. I'm not sure that anything can kill Stardew at this point. Eric Barone could release a game that's just a black screen that says thank you for playing, and it would still hit 1 million sales. But Starsand has potential. The romance options look genuinely interesting, not just a usual here are 12 people, pick one situation. They've got storylines that actually branch based on who you pursue, which is a lot of writing. It's a lot of work. The farming system looks deeper than Stardew's too. You've got to account for island weather, which means tropical storms can actually wreck your crops. There's ecosystem mechanics where you're maintaining the environment around you. It's giving eco-conscious farming sim, and I'm here for it. My only worry is scope. This game is ambitious, like really ambitious, and sometimes ambitious games collapse under their own weight. But the dev team has been transparent about development, they delayed the game instead of crunching, and that gives me hope. I want this to be good, I think we all want this to be good. So yes, around Lunar New Year, but it's coming soon. Keep your eyes on that Steam page. Okay, moving on, Street Takoyaki drops February 2nd, and this one is for my high-stress, cozy people. You know who you are, the people who play Overcooked and somehow find it relaxing. You're valid, but you also scare me a little. So the premise is you're running a takoyaki stand in the streets of Japan, you're making takoyaki, serving customers, upgrading your stall, the usual restaurant sim stuff, but here's the twist, you have to manage pressure from both the police and the Yakuza. The Steam page literally calls this survival focused. This isn't just about flipping takoyaki balls and making customers happy, you're choosing where to operate your stand, and different locations have different risks. You're managing your ingredients to prevent running out, and you're setting prices to stay competitive. And apparently there are random events that can completely change your day. The game's inspired by classic tycoon sims, and you can really feel that. There's an arcadey tension to it. When you get into the zone and you're perfectly timing everything, serving people efficiently, upgrading smartly, it's pure chef's kiss. The upgrade system looks solid, you can expand your menu, customize your stall, unlock new locations as you build up reputation. And the whole thing can apparently be played windowed on a second monitor while you work from home. Their words, not mine. It launches February 2nd on Steam. If you need something to play while waiting for Starsand and you like that high-pressure restaurant management vibe, this is a solid pick. Tailor Simulator launches on February 5th, and I'm just going to say it. The cloth physics in this game look actually insane. I know that sounds like a weird thing to lead with, but you have to understand. Fabric simulation in games is usually terrible. Most of the time it's just a stiff texture that doesn't move, but the trailer for this shows fabric bunching, folding and draping like real cloth. It looks pretty mesmerizing. So in the game, you're a tailor running your own boutique. You take measurements, you cut fabric, you sew garments, you manage your shop. It's The Sims fashion career if it was an entire game. The measuring system looks detailed, you're actually using a tape measure on customers, and if you mess up, the garment won't fit properly, so there is precision required. Then you cut the fabric, lay out the pattern, pin it down, and use scissors to cut along the lines, and because of those cloth physics I mentioned, this apparently feels really tactile. Sewing is its own minigame. You guide the fabric through the sewing machine, keep the stitches straight and avoid bunching. It's a little stressful at first, but once you get the rhythm down, it's satisfying. And then you've got the business side. You're setting prices, managing a shop's reputation, unlocking new fabrics and patterns. You start with basic stuff, simple shirts and skirts, but eventually you're making full custom outfits, wedding dresses, elaborate designs. The progression feels earned. You can also customize your shop, display your best work on mannequins, arrange the layout, choose the decor. It's cozy in that I'm building my dream workspace kind of way. There's also a story mode where you're trying to make a name for yourself in the fashion world, but I don't know how deep that goes. The press materials mention it, but I haven't seen much gameplay. If you like the fashion career in The Sims, this is that, but deeper and more hands-on. Tailor Simulator is out on February 5th. Next up is Goblin Sushi, releasing on February 9th, and this one is pure chaos. If you've ever played Cook Serve Delicious and thought this needs more goblins and less edible food, congratulations, they made your game. So you play as a goblin running a sushi restaurant, but you're a goblin, so you're not making normal sushi. You're rolling up caterpillars, slugs, chicken heads, and freshly blended toads. This is goblin cuisine. And your customers, other goblins. Granny Goblin, Trash Goblin, Ghost Goblin, Poop Goblin. They've got a whole ecosystem going on. The gameplay is fast-paced restaurant management. You're managing your ingredients, preparing sushi, serving customers on a conveyor belt system. But here's the kicker, rent is due every 2 minutes, and it rises at an inflationary rate. So you're constantly under pressure to serve faster, charge more, and optimize everything. This is not a chill, make cute food simulator, this is high-stress sushi rolling. You're trying to keep up with orders, manage your ingredient supply so you don't run out, and pay off your landlord before you get evicted. It's got that overcooked energy where everything is on fire and you're just barely keeping it together. But when you nail it, when you're perfectly rolling sushi, serving customers before they get impatient, raking in the cash, it feels amazing. There's a whole upgrade system, you can improve your restaurant, expand your menu, and unlock new sushi types. The game has over 20 distinct sushi options, plus grilled dishes and juices. And apparently you can serve poop. Exquisite poop. The Steam page specifically mentions this, I don't know why, and I'm not going to question it. There's also a roguelike structure to the game, so each run is different. Different customer patterns, different upgrade opportunities. It's got that one more run addictiveness. Oh, and your goblin can wear little chef hats, multiple styles. You can unlock different headwear, it's cosmetic and does nothing for gameplay, but I will be collecting every single hat. That is a non-negotiable. Goblin Sushi is dropping into early access on February 9th. If you like high-pressure restaurant management and you're okay with serving caterpillar rolls to goblins, this is absolutely your game. Monster Lab Simulator is launching on February 13th, and this one is weird, but the good kind of weird. You're a scientist running a lab where you grow monsters in vats. They're called Foolus, little creatures that you synthesize from mysterious essences, hatch from eggs, and then raise to maturity. Your job is to keep them alive, keep them happy, and sell them, I guess. The game doesn't really explain the economics of the monster market, and honestly, I'm fine with that. Each creature has different requirements, you're adjusting temperature, nutrient levels, all sorts of settings, and if you mess up, they can die. But when you get it right, when you successfully raise a creature from egg to full size, it's incredibly rewarding. And they're weirdly cute. Like, objectively, they're gross and slimy, but they have little animations where they play with each other or press their faces against the glass, and you can't help but get attached. You sell your monsters to earn money, and you use that money to upgrade your lab, better equipment, more vat slots, and new species to unlock. There's a research tree where you can discover fusion evolutions by combining creatures together. Oh, and there's a turn-based battle system. You can put your monsters into fights, either casual matches or high-stakes competitions for big rewards. So it's got that competitive element if you want it. The game has a chill mode where monsters don't die if you mess up, they just grow slower, and there's a challenge mode where one mistake can wipe out your entire lab. I will be sticking with chill mode, thank you very much. It's like running a potion shop, but the potions have eyeballs, weirdly cute, weirdly compelling. I can't fully explain why this works, but it does. Monster Lab Simulator hits early access February 13th. Okay, shifting gears a little, Scarlet Hollow Episode 5 drops February 13th. If you haven't played Scarlet Hollow, it's an episodic visual novel about a mysterious town full of secrets, family drama, and things that go bump in the night. You play as someone who returns to their family's estate after a relative dies, and it immediately becomes clear that something is very wrong with this place. The art is gorgeous, fully hand-drawn, which is rare these days. Most visual novels use stock assets or generic anime art, but Scarlet Hollow has this distinctive, slightly unsettling style that fits the tone perfectly. Every character has hundreds of hand-drawn sprites, showing different emotions, lighting, outfit changes. It's incredibly detailed. What sets us apart from other visual novels is the trait system. At the start of the game, you pick 2 traits, and they fundamentally change how you interact with the world. Like if you pick Talk to Animals, you can communicate with the town's many suspicious animals. If you pick Powerful Build, you can rip a door off its hinges instead of finding a key. It's not just flavor text, these choices matter. And the writing is legitimately good. Like I screenshotted a line of dialogue because it hit me emotionally good. The characters feel real, they have histories and motivations and flaws. You care about them, which makes the horror parts hit harder. This is spooky, but in a curled up with tea kind of way. Just keep the lights on. Maybe don't play it at midnight, and learn from my mistakes. The game is $24.99 for all episodes. Episodes 1 through 4 are available now, with episode 5 dropping on February 13th. Also on February 13th, we've got Clue Murder by Death. It's set in 1930s England, and you've got 120 minutes to solve a murder before Scotland Yard shows up. This isn't just a digital version of the board game Clue, or Cluedo if you're in the UK. This is a full detective mystery game where you're actually investigating. You're examining crime scenes, interrogating 10 different suspects, connecting clues. It's got that Return of the Obra Dinn energy, but in a manor house. The interrogation system looks really cool. You can press suspects on inconsistencies in their stories, you can present evidence that contradicts what they're saying, and they'll react differently based on their personality and whether they're actually guilty. And here's the thing, the game doesn't hold your hand. You can make a wrong accusation, you can arrest the wrong person. And if you do, the game keeps going and you have to deal with the consequences. There's no game over, try again, you just have to live with your failure, which is brutal, but also kind of refreshing. There's an evidence board where you can connect clues and build your case. It's very detective with red string on a corkboard energy, and you need it because the cases are genuinely tricky. The art is stylized and cartoonish, which makes the murder aspect feel less grim. It's very Agatha Christie, very murder mystery dinner party. The tone is more fun puzzle than gritty crime drama. The Steam page says there are 165 explorable rooms, 150 interactive items, and over 9,000 lines of dialogue. That's a lot of content. If you like mysteries, if you like detective games, if you've ever yelled at a TV screen because you figured out the twist before the characters did, this is for you. Clue Murder by Death drops on February 13th. So before we wrap up, I need to talk about Astrobotanica because I got the description completely wrong when I first looked at this. I thought this was about growing plants in space. It's not. You're not in space. You're an alien botanist who crash-landed on Earth 300,000 years ago, prehistoric Earth. You're surrounded by Neanderthals and ancient wildlife and a toxic atmosphere. And the twist is, you need carbon dioxide to breathe, not oxygen, CO2, because you're an alien. So the core loop is you need to grow plants that produce carbon dioxide so you can breathe, but you also need to grow plants for food and medicine. You're experimenting with Earth's unfamiliar flora, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what you can bring back to your home planet. Early game is tense. You're rationing your CO2 supply, you're desperately trying to get your first batch of plants to maturity, and you're one equipment failure away from disaster. But as you progress and your garden expands, it gets easier. You start producing surplus, you can experiment with different species. And there's a whole social element. You can interact with the Neanderthals, learn to communicate with them, and earn their trust. Cure their ailments using handcrafted potions, and if you help them, they might reward you with tools and supplies. The art style is gorgeous. It's this clean, almost minimalist aesthetic, lots of natural colours, The plants are vibrant greens and reds and purples, and they really pop against the earthy environment. There's also a skill system called Primal, where you level up in different paths: planetary knowledge, research, investigation, management, adaptation, and learning. It's basically a progression system that lets you specialise based on your playstyle. Astrobotanica drops into early access on February 16th. This is for people who like survival games but want something a little more chill. It's survival, but it's mostly just really pretty botanical science on prehistoric Earth. Megastor Simulator is coming on February 11th, and I need to confess something, I am unreasonably excited for this game. Like, more excited than I probably should be, because on paper, this is a game about stocking shelves in a grocery store. That's it. That's the pitch, and yet I've been thinking about this game for weeks. You start with a tiny rundown store, barely any shelves and no customers, is you, a box of cereal, and a dream. And your job is to turn this into a thriving megastore. You stock the shelves, you set the prices, you hire employees, and you expand the building. It's Supermarket Simulator, but on steroids. And there is something weirdly satisfying about perfectly aligning cereal boxes. The game has this really crunchy feedback when you place a product, and it snaps into place on the shelf. It's the same dopamine hit as organising your inventory in Resident Evil or lining up crops in Stardew. It just feels good. But it's not just mindless stocking, you have to think about product placement. If you put the expensive organic stuff at eye level, people buy more of it. If you hide the cheap stuff on the bottom shelf, they'll ignore it. There's actual strategy here. The pricing system is where things get interesting. You can undercut competitors to bring in more customers, but then you're making less profit per item, or you can jack up prices and make bank, but people will start shopping elsewhere. You have to find the balance. And you have to deal with spills. Customers will drop stuff, they'll knock over displays, and if you don't clean it up fast, they'll complain and your store rating goes down. So you're constantly juggling stocking, pricing, cleaning, and customer service. It's controlled chaos. As you make money, you can expand, and you can add new sections like a bakery, a deli, and a pharmacy. Each one has its own mechanics. The bakery requires you to bake fresh bread every morning, the deli has a whole slicing and weighing system. It gets complex, but in a good way. In a I have been playing for 6 hours and forgot to eat dinner kind of way. The art style is clean and bright, it's got that low poly charm that a lot of sim games are doing now, and the UI is fairly intuitive, which is crucial for a game where you're managing this many systems at once. Megastor Simulator is out on February 11th. And finally, Seclusa, releasing on February 16th. I thought this was about photography in a remote cabin, but it's not. You're at a safari lodge in East Africa. You're a wildlife photographer staying at this cozy lodge, and you're going out into the wilderness to photograph animals. The photography is the core mechanic. You walk around, find animals, and take photos, and the game has a really nice photo mode where you can adjust the aperture, the focus, and the composition. You're actually thinking about how to frame the shot. Then you go back to the lodge, and the game describes itself as a blend of casual photography and cozy idle game, so you can play it as actively or passively as you want. You're fulfilling photography jobs, completing objectives, earning XP to level up and upgrade your camera. There's also a whole collectible card system where you earn packs as you progress, and you can do jigsaw puzzles using photos you've taken, which is honestly kind of adorable. The whole vibe is to sit at a safari lodge, take photos of elephants and zebras, and relax. It's stress-free, it's mostly point and click. It's the kind of game you play when you need to decompress. There's a free demo available on Steam right now, so you can try it before you commit, but Seclusa is releasing on February 16th. There's 10 games confirmed for February. And I know some of you are still bummed about Starsand not having a hard date yet, I get it, but February is still packed. We've got Street Takoyaki on the 2nd, Tailor Simulator on the 5th, Goblin Sushi on the 9th, Monster Lab Sim and Clue on the 13th, and Astrobotanica and Seclusa on the 16th. And we know that Starsand is coming around Lunar New Year. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of cozy content. My wallet is crying, but my heart is happy. My question of the day is, which of these February releases are you most excited for? Are you Team Takoyaki, Team Goblins, Team Monsters? Or are you just desperately refreshing the Starsand Steam page waiting for that release date? Let me know in the comments, I'm genuinely curious what everyone's planning. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. It helps the algorithm and it helps me keep making these videos. I've got a best cozy co-op games for Valentine's Day coming up this week, and I'm planning a deep dive on The Sims 4 next week, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.